All right, welcome to episode 2 of today of the Real Deal with Courtney Harden. Very excited for my next guest. Like I said, this episode 2. The grind doesn't stop, so let's get it. All right. Again, welcome to another episode of The Real Deal, episode 135. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Saturday evening. I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. This has been, like I said, a busy day, but I'm very excited for my next guest. We're going to get into her career, what she's been doing. If you've seen her on social media, does a lot of great content, a lot of great work and everything too. But before we get into that, you can follow the show on all podcasts and social media platforms. You can follow the show at Get the Real Deal on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, CJ Harden _79 on Instagram, The Real Deal with Courtney Harden on Spotify, Google, Apple, everywhere, Spreaker, BS3 TV app, Roku channel on the Roku channel, the Roku app there, bs3tvlive.com, also bs3network.com. So anywhere you can find a show just about everywhere that you get all of your podcasts. But I am very excited to have my next guest. I told her been trying to get her on the show for a little bit, so we made it happen. So you might have seen her before. Football is sexy. Sanaz Tavassoll is on the show. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for having me. I'm glad it worked out. I'm so sorry, by the way.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm glad it worked out today, and this is the perfect time. So hey, we finally made it happen. But yes, so football is sexy. That's the podcast, the network, also the fighter and the kid. We're gonna get into all of that. So Sanaz said so is the handle, the name, the real everything. So again, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get into it. First and foremost, how are you doing on this, like I said, on this Saturday?
Oh,
Well, afternoon for you, evening for me out there in Southern California. But how's everything going?
it's going good out here, man. I can't complain too much living in Southern California. The weather is stunning. It's like, I don't know, 75 outside and it's
Mm.
December. Like, ain't nothing to complain about out here. So,
Right. Yes, exactly. But yeah, the good weather in out there in California. As everyone knows, I'm in Philly. Not too bad, 40, 50 degrees. Not too bad. It's supposed to be 65 tomorrow, but a rainstorm. So that's
oof.
how it is. That's Philadelphia. That's East Coast weather. So it'll be 30s in the next week. So
I
that's
don't know.
how it
Good,
is.
good thing your Eagles are playing in Dallas then this week.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks here, the last 2 weeks in Philly, they have dealt with some rain, heavy rain, and it didn't look good against the 49ers last week. So that was something else. So, but yeah, we'll get into all the NFL and everything too. So, but we're gonna talk about you, what you do, and get in all your business. But but yeah. So let's start with your journey.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your background, how you got into sports, football, the passion of it. Talk about a little bit about your beginning.
Yeah. So I started working in sports way back when
Mhm.
my first internship was with KCAL 9 and CBS Sports. And at
Okay.
the time, they were known as the home of the Lakers because
Mhm.
before Time Warner, every Laker away game was on Channel 9. And I started interning there, and my first real bosses were James Worthy, big game,
Oh, okay. Big game James, yeah.
and Eric Karros. And I'm not a Dodger fan, but Eric's a great guy. So I started working, interning there, and I would just do game logging. I mean, literally, and for those of you who don't know, game logging is sitting there watching a game with a sheet and then writing, like, going off a master clock, 12, 22, 34, Kobe slam dunk. 12, 22, 46. Sasha did, like, it's literally logging highlights of a game, because then you give that to the producers and they clip together what they want to put together for the big guys like Big Game James to then do his commentary on.
Okay.
So I started doing that, and then I started writing script for James. And it was actually James who was like, "This girl has way too much attitude. You need to be in front of a camera." And I was like, "No, I don't think so. I don't think so." But he kept
Yeah.
pushing. And then he started taking me with Jim Hill, legend out here as well, to Laker games. And I would do all the locker room interviews. So here's like little 5'2" Sanaz with her arm in a microphone, holding it up, trying to get right near Kobe so I can get the best sound bite. And my first ever on camera interview was with Kobe. Great human being for me. Just such a joy to be around and work with.
Right.
Really kind to me. Absolutely. And so that's how I started. And then from there, I was doing locker room interviews for the Dodgers, the Angels, the Kings, and the
Yeah.
Tigers, and the Ducks. From there, I went to like another smaller company called Pro Angle Media, did a lot of small time stuff for them, but we covered a lot of Nike Academy stuff, which
Okay.
was great. And then after that, ESPN came out to me, and it was a production manager I worked with at one of the smaller companies who is now going to be taking over everything for the Big West Conference for ESPN 2 and 3. So that's when I started doing sideline for ESPN 2 and 3. And it was great because, I mean, I went to a Big West school. I went to Cal State Fullerton. So I was very familiar. And Cal State Fullerton is a weird, I mean, listen, the Big West is a weird conference. You got a little couple gems in there. Like Reggie Theus was coaching for Cal State Northridge.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like we had some names. And and then I started doing that. And from there, like I can explain, I've done everything in sports. I've done the sideline. I've done the locker room. I've worked in-house. I've worked in-house for the Anaheim Ducks in their premium department. I've kind of done it all because for a while it was a little rough, you know, being, I hate to say the general stigma, but like being a girl and working in sports, especially before Me Too, was a little rough.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you kind of had to find ways to navigate it and find the best way to feel safe. And then I also just worked with a ton of athletes randomly, whether it was helping their nonprofits or just helping organize their day-to-day life. Like Marshall Falk is an awesome human. I've worked with him a few times, and he's just so great. And I've been really lucky. And then, you know, working in-house for the Ducks, it was a little different for me because it was kind of like I'm not really being me, and I have too much of this energy and too much like
Right.
wild mouth going on.
To be restrained.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can be in a corporate environment. And
Mhm.
then that's when Football Sexy came along and asked me if I wanted to be a part of this amazing startup. And I love the vision and I love what Monica is doing. And I just decided, absolutely, let's do this. And so now I'm doing Football is Sexy as well as The Fighter and the Kid, which is a podcast that's been around for about 12, 13 years with Brendan Schaub, who's an ex-MMA fighter, and Brian Callen, who's a comedian. And now Brendan is a comedian as well. And I get to do both, you know, with Football is Sexy. We're kind of like three main characters. And, you know, I get to be super sassy. And then when you go to Fighter and the Kid, it's kind of nice. I get to lean back and like kick my feet up and give my little comments when I want to. And it's been a really wild journey.
I love that journey, and that's the thing. I that's why I like to have this podcast. I love to hear everybody's journey because it's all different. As you
It's so
said,
different.
yeah, you worked in, and you said you've done a little of everything. So you
Everything.
did the sideline reporting, you did game logging, you did, you know, like behind the
Sponsorship
scenes. Yeah,
sales.
right,
I've done ticket sales. I've worked with people that own suites that, you know, it's crazy. You spend 250 grand for a room in a building you only have access to like 24 times a year. Like I've worked with them. I've worked with the athletes one-on-one. And that's like the beauty of this journey is I feel like so many people think like to work in sports, there's only one path. And there really isn't. Like there really isn't.
There isn't.
It's about grinding, kind of like what you say, you know, like the grind never stops. And that's what it is.
I like that because, as you said, it's not just you get into something just for one thing. You
Yeah.
say, okay, you asked me to do silent report. Okay, I could do that. You asked me to do this. I could do this. I could do this. I could do this.
Yeah.
And I think even for like people that are trying to get into this business, media, sports, whatever it is, you have to be versatile. You have to be able to not just know one thing. You have to do a lot editing,
Oh, yeah.
videos.
Little cables like a mother. You have no
Yeah,
over, under, over, under. I know how to do
yeah,
literally,
all
like,
that.
in the
Hmm.
grit with the interns, like, doing whatever I could do, like,
Hmm.
even now, what I love about Football is Sexy is we're a startup,
Yeah.
and we're a real small company, like, we got one amazing man he's doing our editing, he's doing our filming, he's doing our sound, and, like, when we get there and we're done, like, we're all still helping wrap up everything, and I love that camaraderie, and I love again what Monica is pushing here with
Yes.
making football just like accessible to the people that are maybe a little too shy to say, "Hey, I like sports." I mean, growing up in Orange County, I was raised a Laker fan by my dad. Raised. I mean, he was a Rams fan, and I chose the Chargers. Um, I had Doug Flutie, man. What do you want me to say?
Why not?
What do you want me to say? But it's funny because even all my like you when you meet a girl and they say they're into sports, I feel like the immediate thing to do is be like asking stats and asking these
Yeah.
ridiculous questions that you're like, bitch, calm down. I don't remember. I have so
Yeah.
much going on in here. I don't know. As I know more than you, and and it's
Yeah.
so wild. Like, I'm in a fantasy football league with 11 dudes that we all went to high school together. It's me and 11 dudes. And man, oh man, do they get pissy when I win. Currently in third right now.
Yeah.
And I've won before. And anytime I do well, they're always like, Sanaz is cheating. And I'm like, I'd love to know how.
You're right. You know your stuff. That's all. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
sorry. I wake
Yeah.
up on Sunday just like you, and I check my
Yep.
boards and I check, all the forums, and I know
Yep.
what to do at that point.
Yeah, yes. I don't even know why we're even still in that mindset that people are thinking like, no, the women know. It's not even just the women just know. They know sports. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So I don't know why we get that way. And it's for guys, and just I don't know. It's just one of those things. I guess ego still to this day. But as you said, I've seen a lot of your content, and it said that we'll talk more about football sexy. Uh, I see that you're kind of like I love it when you get on live and you're just spewing out just the facts of things and everything, even opinion. It's like, yeah, I know this. I breathe this. I've done all these things just from your journey. So yeah, man, much respect for that.
I appreciate that. You don't know how much that means to me. It's so cool to hear that. The people that know me have been around me. Grew up with me. They know Sanaz has just always been into sports. Like on
Hmm.
Sunday, she's busy. I don't know what to tell you. And like
Yeah,
right now is the worst time of year for me because you have football, basketball, and hockey. And
right.
I mean, I don't even. There are days where I just don't even look at my phone. And my mother has always been like, why do you always have to yell when you're watching sports? And I was like, I don't know because I get annoyed.
Yeah, just a passion
Yeah,
of it. As you said,
it's
the
amazing.
heartbreak of our teams, and then we get excited when our teams do well, or not, or players that we like, or athletes that we like do. And you said you interviewed Kobe Bryant, and I read that Antonio Gates is like one of your favorite
Oh my God.
people
I
in
like him a
general.
lot until I heard what he said last week about like we shouldn't be firing Coach Staley. I was like, who are you
Oh
talking to?
yeah, we got to get into some Chargers stuff,
Yes.
and everything. I know that's like something like, oh, good, yes, because they're not having the season that they were predicted to have,
We
and
never have the season we're predicting, Courtney.
okay,
Here.
all right, I'll leave that one. I knew that would be something that I got to bring up, but
Hashtag maybe next year,
maybe next
like
year. Oh my goodness. So, but like you said, like said Lakers and Chargers and the Dodgers, and I mean you got a good sports history, sports culture
yeah.
around you growing up. Too, how was that? As you said, I did. You said you've been in it for a long time, but how was that? Just that Southern California and that sports scene, what it was then and what it is today.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, right? I mean, where
Mhm.
I live, I'm a 25-minute drive away from Angel Stadium. I'm a 25 a
Mhm.
minute drive away from Honda Center. If I wanted to go to a Chargers game, it was, 50 minutes maybe down to San Diego, and a Lakers game was an hour up, towards LA. So
Yeah.
I was really immersed in it, and it was so amazing. I mean, I'll tell you, there are not many times in my life I've been starstruck, but working in what I have worked in and meeting the people I have met, like I'll never forget the day I met Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean,
Mm,
that was just a moment for me of like, okay, things have come full circle. I was raised
right.
by an immigrant father. Both of my parents are from Iran. My dad came here to go to USC, and truthfully learned sort of how to be American by going to the Forum and watching Laker games.
Right.
So Football Sexy actually films out of the Ice House in Pasadena, who is owned by Johnny Buss, one of the owners of the Lakers.
Yep.
Johnny and I have become such good friends, and it's so cool to kind of tell Johnny, like, you don't know what your dad did for my dad, and like I've bonded with my father over sports,
Yeah.
like that's how we became close. And then being able to work and walk the same like hallowed grounds of like Kobe and Magic and all these
Mm,
people. It's such a full circle moment, and you feel like so honored to be there. That's what I always used to tell the interns I worked for, is like, take a minute, breathe this in. You are
yeah.
standing in a Laker locker room. Think of
Yeah.
how little people are in this room right now.
Yes.
There's a huge
Right.
responsibility to you being in this room.
Yeah.
And I would always teach my interns that, to just take that in and love on that moment. And I mean, there are so many, like, you think back in sports, like dark days in sports, like the day Magic announced he was retiring because he had
Yeah.
HIV. And then, obviously the day Kobe died, like it's just, and to say that, like, I've been in a locker room with Kobe, I've worked Laker practices to the point where Kobe knew who I was. You used to joke around with me like I was like like it was weird, like we were
Yeah.
coworkers.
Right.
It's been a blessing, and then being raised in a sports central environment, it's almost like you had nothing else to do. I mean, I
Mm,
went to Mission Viejo High School, which was a huge football school. Mark
yeah.
Sanchez, of course, went to Mission Viejo High School as well. So did Jordan Palmer, who's Carson Palmer's brother. Um, and that was just it. Friday nights, you were going to the football game.
Mm.
And our Coach Bob Johnson, was so superstitious. He always had a hot dog and a Diet Coke before the game. But with me, he always made sure he called me glitter, because I would put red glitter on one eye and gold on the other. And
Okay.
he would call me out of class. Like I'd get, would think, oh, Sanaz is being called to the office. No, 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 no. She's being called to the football trailer to make feel like, you got that glitter today? And I'm like, no,
Right. Right.
check to make
Yes.
sure, because that's why we, went undefeated for as long as we did. But
Yeah.
I was raised to love sports. There's just, I don't get it. Like I don't understand. Like I'm the multitasker. I go to Disneyland once a week because I'm a Magic Key holder, and I got my phone and I'm watching whatever game I'm watching while I'm kidding me. Like I'll be at friends' weddings and I'll just have it on my phone, and
Oh, we just consume this. That's
yes,
what it is.
yeah,
We're ingrained in it. We love it. That's why we love the storytelling, and everything you said, the history of what we say, the Lakers, Kobe and Magic, Kareem, and I mean that just right there alone, that's history of LA.
yeah.
That's
It's
LA.
just our culture.
Yeah, yeah, right,
People
right.
forget, like, and that's what I always tell Johnny Buss, is I'm like, dude, LA Laker, that's culture here.
Hmm.
Like you guys said so many trends and so many tones, and like people remember where they were, when milestones were happening with the Lakers, and like
Yep.
it's funny. My girlfriends always tease me because they'll call me to try and tell me like gossip about something. Like, did you hear what so and so said? Did you hear like this morning I got a phone call and I'm like, did you see Shohei Ohtani just $100 million?
Yes.
Sanaz, who is that?
This like, who is that? Yeah, what is that? Right? Who is that?
Like, lady, I do not give a shit about that other
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Let's talk about Shohei. Like,
Show ad, yes, yes. And there was a comment in there. Yes, Otani Dodgers, 10 years, 700 million. Yes, the highest North American contract in
with
sports
an
history.
elbow that you don't even know what it's
No,
gonna be.
exactly. Invested 10 years of that. That's yes, that we're ingrained in it. Shout out to the NR Hour Sports Show. He says hi, Sanaz. Yes.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. He said mama mentality. Yes. And maybe
Always.
that's what it is. It's rubbed off. And a lot of people have that, there's people that do have that mentality, but that's a different level
Yeah.
of with Kobe, what he represented. And we try to implement that in our day-to-day of what we like to do too. And he was just different. because he just,
Different beast
mhm,
all around. I mean,
yeah,
first into practice, last
yep,
out of practice.
hmm,
Just he would get so mad when people would screw around at practice too. It was
yeah,
just like, his time was everything to him because he really did want to spend. If he was working, he was working. If not, he wanted
yep,
to be with his family.
yes,
It was a very, obvious thing to all of us. But at the same time, you'd be just walking in Staples Center, like walking through the halls, and you would hear like in the background someone just scream, like singing, like a random song, like Brown Eyed Girl or Bambaleo, and I'd turn
yeah,
around and I'd be like, "Hi, Kobe," and he'd be like, "Hi, Sanaz, how we doing today?" Like
yeah,
just such a gentleman, and I mean, God bless Vanessa. She's holding it down. She's keeping his
yeah,
legacy going. I
yeah.
love that they're back with Nike. That's going to be huge.
Oh yes,
To
for all
deprive
types
the
of reasons.
world of
Hmm.
Kobe's shoes is
Yeah,
just
yep, for
um,
all types of reasons. That's like you said. That's Kobe being back, with Nike and that relationship is yeah, it was meant to be. It was just one of those things that should have never came to that. But that's how business and personal things happen. And but he said Vanessa is holding it down for that and his legacy to keep continue and things like that. So yeah, shout out to the Bryant family and Vanessa and the kids, and yeah, Kobe was one of one. He was a one of one,
exactly.
So yeah, NR says he says well said. Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yeah. We had some of Kobe's former teammates on the show and talked to his former trainer, Hannah
Oh,
Baker. Yes, yes, okay, all right, yeah. It's so much. Yeah, Kobe is definitely missed. It's one of those things,
basketball
but
just hasn't been the
it has
same.
been the same, right? Yeah.
And I'm not a LeBron lover. I am a Laker lover.
Mm, mhm.
There's been a couple times LeBron said some stuff that I was like, God gave me shoulders to carry this load. I was like, relax. Relax. Like,
Yeah.
nobody, it's all right. We didn't ask for you to, but
Right, right.
I love the Laker organization. Jeannie is a genius. I
Mm,
love her to death. I mean, Jeannie
yeah.
Buss, talk about a woman in sports just crushing it.
Yes.
My girl
Totally.
Jeannie, I'm just saying.
Crushing it. Crushing it.
And I think the beauty of sports is you get so many different types of people that are like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm a comedian or I'm a DJ, I'm a nobody, I'm a garbage man, I'm whatever. Oh, but I all like the Lakers. Now we all have something in common, you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes, and yeah, Jeannie is a boss, and what you're doing, boss moves itself to. So we let's get into the football is sexy,
Yeah.
and talk about what it is. I'll read. The mission is inspired by one of the most watched sports in the world. Football Made in USA T-shirts and sweatshirts complement our first to market mobile app where we talk and teach football. Our mission is to unite people around the globe through inclusivity and knowledge, one fan at a time.
Yep.
That's on the website.
Yeah.
That is on the website. So talk a little bit about what you alluded a little bit of it. Talk what football sexy, what it
Yeah,
means
I'll give you
to
the
you.
real deal. So
Yeah,
we're a badass
yes.
app. Our app is sick. We have
Yep.
pickums every week. We have breaking news on there that's coming direct from the source now, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And the goal of this is just to say it's okay to like sports and not
Yep.
know everything.
Mm,
You're all going to make little mistakes here and there, and we want to create an environment which that's safe to men and women to come and maybe learn or maybe just kind of hear a different opinion or like hear the weird sides of it, like like actually our demographic is mostly male, so
mm-hmm.
there's that. And I think between Monica, Melissa, and myself, we all bring something so different.
Right.
Melissa is like, I like to call her our pop culture guru. Like she knows
Yeah.
she's coming in hot with all the takes of who's dating who and what's happening in here and who's wearing what. And I love it because I'm like, look at you. I didn't know that this boy shops at Kohl's. That's so great.
Right.
There's all the Taylor Swift stuff for me and all that stuff. And then Monica's got like the old school info. She's such a diehard Niner fan, and she has so much information that she can like dig deep and just find random stuff to tell you
Right.
that's interesting. And then I kind of have the attitude, like breaking news aspect to it, where I really react on a lot of the stuff that's being said. And I have my own opinions on it because a girl and I'm too passionate as hell. So that's our goal is like our app is awesome. We have like my favorite thing for my new friends that kind of like are learning football. We have like a definition section.
Mm.
So if you don't know
Mhm.
what encroachment is, go to the app, type it in. You're going to
You'll
understand
find
a
it. That's
regular
cool.
person's explanation of
Right.
encroachment,
Mhm.
not like some weird thing you found online.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and it's been such a blessing to have the backing we have and to see it grow. We're actually going to be having a Super Bowl party at the Ice House, which is going to be sick.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, we get a lot of asks to hold parties. We did hold one. It was the Niners Steelers party, sold out. It was amazing. And we get asked to do a lot of them. We were asked to do one for Niners Eagles and then Niners Cowboys, but it's hard because we like to say we're fans first and we want to kind of watch the game too.
Yes, of
So
course. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
rough, but I mean, we're gonna do the Super Bowl at the Ice House. It's gonna be amazing. Admission's $25, and we're gonna have great food, great alcohol. It just and we have a lot of random guests of the show that like to pop by, so
Yeah.
it's always fun. Like we never kind of know who we're gonna be dealing with one day, and it's been such a blessing to have a safe environment to speak your opinions
Yep.
and grow. And that's what Monica's mission has always been.
Mhm.
And she's she's just a winner. Like I mean, I look at her and I can see the vision. We've aligned right away from the beginning, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like we're two magnets that just connected instead of pushed
Right.
apart.
I
And it's
love it.
been great. And Melissa just cracks me up all the time because I always say like Melissa's the bubbly fun one, and I'm the like cranky one in the corner. Uh, but it's a really fun balance, and it's been great.
Yeah, I love it. And like I said, I've been watching. I remember it, I think it was last season, and I came upon it, and I was just watching it on YouTube, and and I just watching. As you said, it's what it says on the website. It is inspiring, it's empowering, it's educating, not just women, it's educating men also. And you said the demographic is mostly men because they just said if it's a great show, we're gonna watch, gonna invest, and I think that's the main thing is investing in great content, great shows, great podcasts, regardless of gender, and just it brings people together. You said it's empowering. It's all those things. So keep everything you guys are doing. I
Ah,
just keep doing what you guys are doing because
you're amazing.
you're hosting, you're doing a lot of things, and the content is always on point. So
Thank
that
you.
yeah, the content is on point. I love it. I really do. So yes, anyone that's watching and listening, follow Football is Sexy. Follow all these talented women that are just they're killing it in the industry. So
You are so
definitely,
amazing, Courtney.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, I really do mean that because, like I said, I reached out to Monica. I said, hey, I want to get you on the podcast too. I wanted to get all three of you guys on the podcast one day. So we'll
Oh,
try to make it
I'm
work.
sure she wants it. She's just so busy right now.
Yeah, she said that.
Really, I'm
Yep.
like her proxy, so I'm
Yeah,
glad you step in.
yeah. She. I think I asked her 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago, and she said, "Oh yeah, I've just been busy." I said, "I get it, totally get it." And she hit me up today and said, we're gonna make this work. So maybe we'll plan something next year now with the holidays coming up.
I love that.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely plan so maybe after the Super Bowl or something, regardless, something in that way. Because I am actually going to Super Bowl week in Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah, yes. So
you're
doing
brave.
so. Yeah, I know. I
You're
know.
brave.
Yes. So me and my wife and the network's going. We didn't get our credentials yet. Hopefully we will. I know it's hard to get credentials
Yeah.
and for football and but they were there last year. But there's so much stuff going on in Super Bowl week. We'll figure something out to get some
No, you
content out.
will. You will. And
Yeah.
now, do you have a prediction?
Well, the prediction for in the beginning of the year, I picked Eagles Chiefs again for the Super Bowl. We'll see how that we'll see. 49ers looking good. I cannot deny that. They came in Philly and whipped us. So they look like the most complete team at this moment. And then the Chiefs, I don't know what's going on with them, but they still got Patrick Mahomes, so you can never count them out either. But as of now, let me ask you then. Okay, let's get into the predictions and things like that. Who you think right as of today is going to go to your Super Bowl
I
prediction?
mean, I had said 49ers from the beginning of the season just because I believe they are the most complete team when they are healthy.
Yeah.
They are the most complete team.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I I don't even love this team, but I looked at the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Just in their division, it's so squirrely.
Yeah.
And Lamar to me is a last second quarterback. Like he's the guy that when there's 1 second left on that clock, he can figure it out. The
Right.
running quarterback position is a dying position, but this guy still finds a way. And you kind of notice they've kind of limited his runs this season, but he's still
Right.
doing it. I feel, you got to be smart. He's going to get older.
Yep.
You can only run for so long, but he's so versatile to me. And he's so comfortable out of the pocket with pressure, without pressure, that I said Niners Ravens. That was
Mm,
my go-to.
right.
And it's so funny for me. Everyone's like, "Well, you're a Chargers fan. Do you ever think?" I'm like, "No, no, don't go."
You're a realist. You're like me. You're a
Yeah,
realist. Like I
yeah.
said, if the Eagles, I knew that high expectations. They got to the Super Bowl last year, almost won, and controversial call in the end. But
Mm.
I'm over that. I'm
Are
over that now.
you?
A little bit.
I wouldn't have been.
Yeah, a little bit. I had to move on, so that's
Yeah,
how it is. But the Cowboys Chiefs or Eagles Chiefs. Okay. Uh,
I don't think Dak
out
has.
of yeah, as good as he's been playing, yeah, this is a good test. This game coming up against the Eagles is a real good test. They don't beat the Eagles tomorrow. They're not, and then plus it's Dallas. We know how
Dallas
they.
doesn't lose on turf. They don't
Yeah,
lose on
that's
their
true.
turf.
Yeah,
I think they've got 14 wins in a row there right
yeah.
now. And the thing about the Eagles is like, first off, I think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, but
Mhm.
it's like your offense is missing something. Like
Right.
Andrew Brown has been on fire lately, but I feel like there's just something that's not there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not clicking. I mean, look, you have defense wise, like I think you guys are stacked. I mean, you have a great defensive front. And I don't know exactly what it is. Offensively, I don't know. I mean, you got the best center in Kelsey.
Yep, Kelsey.
I
Yep.
love that
Mhm.
guy,
Yes.
you know, but it just seems like one thing is missing and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you bring a good point because I've been, even though they're 10-2 and they've been winning in a lot of different ways, and I was just thinking throughout the year, okay, they're winning by the skin of their teeth, but it's like, okay, they're gonna turn it on, they're going to turn it on, they're gonna turn it on, and then they beat Buffalo the way they did in dramatic fashion. So it's like, okay, Jalen's he's having a good year. I mean, he was in the lead for an MVP. I think it's Brock Purdy now. I think he's jumped ahead of everybody. But as of now, he's not having the year he had last year, but they've been winning. I don't think it's him, and I don't think it's the offense. I think it's the offense, but I think it's the coordinator. I think it's the play calling.
Okay.
New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. The play calling hasn't been on par, and you got all this talent, but they don't know when to pass, they don't know when to run. It's the balance. It's sometimes it's just because against the 49ers, they just came out throwing the football. It's like, okay, now they got up and down the field the first two drives, they just got field goals. I'm like, you're not going to beat the 49ers getting field goals. They were up,
No.
no, they're up 14-0. Okay, now that puts Brock Purdy and the 49ers, that puts them on their heels. I wanted to see how that would have happened, but then 49ers come rushing back and then just dominated the rest of the game. So I don't know if it's just the play calling. Something is missing. I can't put my finger on it, but I have the utmost confidence they're going to beat Dallas tomorrow. I really do. I just
You
can't see them.
do. You do,
Yes,
huh?
I can't see the Eagles losing two in a row. I can't see Jalen Hurts
I
saying,
can't see them losing two in a row either, but it's like what you said. Like, listen, they're pretty balanced. I think it was like 258 run plays versus 280 passing plays. Like,
yeah,
they're balanced. Okay. They have that going for them. But the problem with playing in Dallas is it's such a home field advantage to that
yeah,
team. They're the reason why Dallas is clinging on to wanting the turf and not wanting to let go. Uh,
right,
it's a hard place to win, but it's like, as much as it's like Dallas doesn't lose at home, I don't see the Eagles losing two in a row either because,
yeah,
like you said, skin of your teeth. I think the Eagles have been finding ways to win, which to me in a playoff situation is the most important thing to have.
yes,
You have to
mhm,
get creative and you
yeah.
have to find ways to win.
Yep, you're right, and they've done that, and they're doing that, and I think this game was a slap in the face. It's like, okay, maybe we were feeling ourselves a little too much, overconfident, but the 49ers, 49ers, they were talking all year. Oh, the Eagles should have been a Super Bowl. You guys knocked out our quarterbacks in the NFC Championship, but they came in and they took care of business.
Yeah.
So the Eagles are now. I know some Eagle fans, they have jumped off there. They're like, oh, the Eagles are done. I'm thinking, no, it's just
Relax.
more.
You're not a
I know,
Jets
right,
fan.
right, exactly. So let's
Goodness.
let's 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 just think like, okay, 49ers beat us. We have to now. We got Dallas coming up. We got Seattle coming up. We have got a couple games now. And if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year that stretch when they beat Kansas City, they beat Buffalo, and they just lost to 49ers, that the Eagles would have been 2-1 now during the stretch, I would have been like, this is a tough stretch. And if they could somehow beat Dallas tomorrow, 3-1 during that gauntlet of a stretch, I'll take that any day.
I listen. I agree with you. It'll be a tough one. I think that's
It is.
the game of the week is
Yeah.
actually tomorrow. So that's the one I'm excited mostly to
Yes.
watch.
Me too. Totally. Yeah, definitely. And so you said AFC, you like Baltimore. What do you think of well, now Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence? Don't know how long he's going to be out. I know it says a high ankle sprain.
I
But
bet he plays. I
do you
bet he.
think he's going to play?
I bet he plays. That looked a lot worse than it is. And you know
It
what's
did.
funny with that Jacksonville game? I was sitting there and watching that game, and I went, "Hold up, they have the same record as the Ravens."
Yeah, and they
Like,
would have been number one seed if they would have won.
missing out
Yeah.
on Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I've had Ingram as a tight end, and he hasn't done anything for me till this last
So
game.
this last game, I got Ingram too as my in my main fantasy league too. As my
Yeah,
tight
like I
end.
was like, thank God ETN has just been doing great.
Yeah.
If I probably butchered his name. Jacksonville is a team that's getting hot at the right time. And I think we say this every year. It's like teams that start off blazing, you're like, that's great, but are you sustainably keeping that?
Yes.
Because every week that goes by, every offensive coordinator, every defensive coordinator has time to learn your bag of tricks. And if you can't adjust to what they're going to learn, it's nothing to me. Like, I mean, I think the Dolphins are an example of that. Like the Dolphins, I claim this year I'm a Dolphins fan because my team is so bad, and I have Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team.
I do too. Damn, we might have the same fantasy
I
team.
swear we probably do.
We probably do. I got Hurts. I got Hurts, AJ Brown. I got Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm just going off what I remember. I got Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I got Brown and Tyreek Hill in round 1 and 2 back to back. It was like
we got a keeper league, and
yeah.
I've kept Hill and Zeke for the past like 5 years.
Okay.
But I kept Zeke this year. But it's been a rough year for me. Lamar Jackson's my quarterback though, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
So you're good. Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
But I think the Dolphins started like that. Like we were like, holy, where did this team come from?
Yeah.
Everybody thought Tua was going to be like too scared to play because let's not sugarcoat it. His head nearly got ripped off.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. And, they always say with an athlete, the minute they're actually hurt, if they play with that fear, it's kind of over and done with, right? It's done. Yeah. But he's come out, and I don't know why he's not in the MVP conversation.
He should be.
Why isn't he? Yeah, I'm sorry. Put him in the combo.
He should be. If Tyreek Hill's in it, he should be too.
Tyreek, if you remember at the beginning of the year, said, I'm going to get 2,000 yards. And I was like, time is coming up, buddy. Come on. I need them.
Yes. All those yards.
That team is so stacked too.
Yeah.
And I thought their biggest challenges were going to be cold weather games and to kind of see what was happening, there. Right. And I think the Chiefs are missing Tyreek. I know they have Pacheco. I know they have so many other weapons, but I think they're missing Tyreek Hill.
I do too. They definitely are, because you could see now with the Chiefs, Mahomes is relying on guys that he doesn't have much trust in, except for Kelsey, outside of Kelsey. And they're trying to figure it out, but Andy Reid can only scheme so much. As great of a coach as he is, can only scheme so much. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the world, but that element's missing. The Tyreek Hill element has been missing. They did win last year because that's how good Patrick Mahomes is. But now I think they need that Tyreek Hill, because they're dropping a lot of passes, and he's not trusting it. But then again, they could turn it right around when it comes playoff time. But the AFC's so wide open. I don't know. I mean, I have faith in Baltimore. I have faith because of their defense and Lamar Jackson. They run the football. The receivers are starting to really get going. So I could see Baltimore, but then I'm still leaning towards Kansas City. I don't know why, but I just maybe because
that's fair. Look, the Walrus is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. He's a great coach. He's up there with me. Like, I think Tomlin is up there with him. Like, there's certain coaches you just love. Yeah. And like, I love Andy Reid. And I definitely think that they're still in the conversation, but they're just not consistent.
Right.
And some weeks it just looks like such a scramble. And I don't know if it's play calling. Maybe it's just play calling.
Yeah.
I mean, this year in the NFL, though, I mean, can we take a minute to appreciate how the quarterback shuffle has been the nightmare this year.
Yes. All
I mean,
these backups,
one week
backups and
Joe
third
Flacco
string.
is sitting
Yeah.
on his couch, and the
Yeah.
next week he's starting in a game.
Yeah. Right. Right. Like what like and now you're down to like your four string quarterbacks and you're thinking I didn't think Carson Wentz was going to be back into the
I
league.
did.
You did?
I did. I
Okay,
said
okay.
from the beginning of the season, actually before our first in-season podcast, I said he will be back. He
Mm.
was not that. Listen, he's
He was
not
that.
a terrible quarterback.
He really isn't. He
No,
really
he's
isn't.
not. And then, it's funny. Like I was sitting here the other night watching TV. I saw Tim Tebow on a commercial. I was like, how come no one's called Tim Tebow? Called him and Mark
Called
Sanchez. God love you, Mission Viejo's golden boy. Get off the announcing booth and get back in there with your butt fumble.
right, right. Yes, because the Jets could use you. So
And I'm just saying this year, it's
yeah,
like anytime you sneeze, you're like, a quarterback is gone. Here
yeah.
we go. Now
Musical
we don't know what
chairs.
to do.
Musical chairs of quarterbacks. It's like, who is this? Who is this quarterback? Like sometimes you're like, who's the starter on this team now?
That's why I
Oh,
give so much credit to Garner Minshew over there
yeah.
on the Colts.
Hmm.
Because when Richardson went down, everybody thought this team was like done.
Yeah.
Garner's come out, he gets the respect of his team. Like he's still finding ways to make things done. Like, and then you see like a backup, I'm sorry, like Bailey Zappi, who I'm
Yeah.
like, you look like
Right.
you're 12, first off. And I just don't think your team cares about you.
Yeah.
You just can tell, So it's been a tough road for the quarterbacks this year. And like I really have liked seeing those kind of wake up and come out and show up a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the draft next year,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
What
you
do you
need a
do?
quarterback. You need quarterbacks. Like it's just you
Well,
need
what
a
does
good
the Broncos do in your opinion?
dude. I mean, Russell Wilson. Speaking of missing, there's something missing there too. Like there's, I don't know. I don't know if he has.
Respect.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no respect between Sean
yeah.
Payton and Russell Wilson.
You're right. You might be. Yeah, you're probably right because it's and even with Russell Wilson, the way he's plays, like you said, you watched him all his career. He doesn't have that confidence anymore. And the way he pushes the ball down the field, I know he doesn't throw the ball down the field as much, not in this offense, but it's just the way his mechanics seem off, and like I said, maybe it's just the respect and the lack of it, and it's like because I just don't feel like he's falling off like off the cliff that fast. Because 2 years ago he was still playing at a high level, but
Listen, Legion of Boom was
yeah,
one of the scariest units
yes,
in
yes,
the NFL.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Like when you had those guys going, but there was like a connection there, even though they're like, I never had Russell's phone number, whatever. But when you have a coach who's going and publicly saying,
Yeah.
oh, my quarterback isn't tough. He needs to stop kissing babies. I don't care how nice he is.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, you in that visor, get off it. Like no one's gonna
Yeah.
who's gonna want to run through a brick wall for you. And I don't know if you saw in the last week's game, they were screaming at each other on the sideline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. Not
To
a good
me,
look.
Sean Payton is like, I don't care. I got a contract here. This is technically my like fun year. I'm just gonna do what I want.
Yep.
And he should probably just tank the rest of the year and get a pretty good draft pick. I don't think Russ will be there next year.
I don't think so. You're right. I don't think so either. Especially if they don't make the playoffs, which doesn't look like they are. They're in the mix, but I don't think they're good. They're decent, but they're not good enough to get those last couple spots. But yeah, and Russ, he'll be with another team somewhere who needs a quarterback, which is going to be a lot of teams. Will give him another chance. But man, Denver they gave up so much to get him. And
so much,
and now they either might be, but any contract can be moved, but they might be stuck with him for at least one more year. But I can see what you're saying that he might not be there next year. So I agree.
Well, you never know. They're playing the Chargers this week. So
yeah, let's talk about your Chargers before I let you go. I wanted to get into the Charger discussion. Please. And so Staley, do you get rid of him now? And who as a fan, who do you want as the coach? And just because, like you said, Justin Herbert, talented quarterback, just the system or the play calling, whatever it is. But who does Sanaz want as the coach of the Chargers next season?
So that's a hard question
Mhm.
because I love, listen, me being a sports fan, I love when I get to say I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's
Yeah.
what I can tell you. Again, if you think Staley is the only problem, you're naive. Okay. This team has a ton of issues. Okay. And
Yeah.
sure, if we want to look at him to start with, let's look at him to start with. I don't know who you think you are calling
Mhm.
defensive plays. Did you see what Rex Ryan said about him this week?
Yes. Mhm.
Go
Yeah.
back to Division
Yes.
Three
They said,
ball. First
yeah.
off, Rex coming in hard.
Hard.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't even know where he was for a second there. Like I
Yeah.
was,
You're like, what? Okay. Wait.
but the thing about Staley, and like Antonio Gates comes forward and he's like, no, they shouldn't get rid of him. You don't know what it's like when you have a coach you really want to play for. I said, Antonio, who's really playing?
Yeah. Who wants?
Who?
Who's playing
Who's
for? Right.
around,
Yeah.
brother?
Yeah.
Like it's been so rough. I don't know who our coach should be, but what I can tell you is this: it's not just him. We need a solid defensive coordinator in there. We're
Yeah.
wasting money on players like Bosa who are just sitting out like 19 million in their pocket, not doing anything so far for us this year.
Yeah.
Injured one week, not injured the other. You got a beast in a tank like Eckler who's just not fitting into this offense.
Right.
You're wasting Keenan Allen. I mean, for the past 7 years, it's been like Keenan Allen, like someone farts on him and he's out for the whole year.
Right.
You finally get a healthy Keenan Allen. God bless him and his beautiful family, by the way. Shout out to Sandra. But like, you're wasting this talent.
Yeah.
And Herbert, like, I feel so frustrated for him. Like, he's a smart quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's got a gunslinging arm, but like, it's just not working.
Yep.
And I think the problem is so much deeper than just getting rid of Staley. I don't think they'll fire him mid-season. That's technically not what the Chargers do. They'll
Right.
let him ride it out. I think this, and I think the rumor that Belichick could come here would break my heart because
Mm.
of all things, I don't own any green clothing because I'm a Boston hater.
Right.
Celtics. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like the Red Sox, and I don't like the Bruins.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if he comes over here and they take some poor intern and make him now responsible of cutting the sleeves off those sweatshirts, I will be heartbroken. I do not want
Yeah.
Belichick here. Okay.
Right.
I think Kraft is going to send him off pretty well too. But
Yeah.
I truthfully don't have an idea. I mean, you would love to see someone like to me, who's doing it best right now is Shanahan. Shanahan's offense is clicking on all cylinders right now.
Mhm.
You would love to see someone with that kind of brainchild in there. I don't know, because when it comes to coaches too, like I loved Ron Rivera when he was with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to, actually, if I had to make a guess, I'd like to see Ron Rivera come back.
Yeah, because he might
Like,
not be in Washington anyway. after
he
the
might not
season.
be. And
Mhm.
we don't even know what that team is going to be called next year. So
Yeah.
don't worry
Right.
about it. I think Ron was amazing when he was a part of our coaching staff. And
Yeah.
Staley just to me is extremely arrogant. And
Ugh.
look, it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I know that you want to be like, I'm running the defense here, but it's not working, brother.
No.
It's time to switch it up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
defensively, I think in the year we started out really strong and then we just kind of fell. I always tell Monica, you have the better Bosa brother.
Yeah.
You don't see Joey over here repping skims and whatever else, but like it's hard. This team is so talented and there's
Right.
just so much talent. Like, but what happens? Like nothing, like it's every year, like it's so rough for us. And I'm exhausted by it. I think Herbert just doesn't have the coverage he needs, and he's got
Yeah.
an arm and he's not really able to use it. And then when you have your running back just trying to be the little workhorse here, but you don't have a line to protect him, it's
Yeah.
worthless.
Yeah, you're right. And it's I 100% agree. I think Herbert is like they're wasting his prime years, getting into his prime years, because it's like I said, you got a super talented quarterback with a strong arm, and they're not utilizing it at all. And you said Eckler, who wants a new contract, not having the best year, was injured in the beginning of the year, and now is he can't, it's like he can't run with that offensive line, and they're like I said, not in the right system. So where does he go? Does he leave? And it starts. You said Staley's not the only issue with the team. It's just I think they have to start at the top though. If he gets some part of that blame or a lot of the blame, okay. So now it's just all about maybe getting a new culture, maybe getting a new coach, new culture, and that's maybe
Hey,
that's what
it's
they
working
need.
for the Raiders.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it'll be turnaround because like I said, that team is just too talented to be this bad. And it gets
Where's
everybody.
Williams?
Yeah, right.
There's some more money we've thrown in, and like
Yeah,
I just can't eat. I can't anymore. I
yeah.
can't.
I'm
I'm
sure. I'm
I'm
sure you're.
exhausted.
I'm sure you're exhausted, like just till you're blue in the face. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this team doing as a
They have
fan?
aged me and cost me more money in Botox. So I'm just saying, like, it's so hard to be a Chargers fan. It really is. And every year, but they're like, oh, this year's the year. You're like, shut the hell up. No, it is
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we do not have it this year. And I'm a realist, dude. I mean, it's a rough time for all my teams, my Ducks or whatever, my Angels or whatever, and but my Lakers are doing pretty good.
yeah.
Although I swear, I'm like LeBron thinks this, like, if he wins this in season tournament, it's like his fifth ring. I swear he does.
That's how he's treating it too. Yeah,
I mean, but it's interesting, right? LA's teams kind of go up and down and all over the place, and
yeah.
I miss the Chargers being in San Diego personally,
Yeah,
but
yeah. And people still call them San Diego Chargers. So
my gear still says San Diego
yeah,
Chargers,
yeah.
and but you got a beautiful stadium, you got beautiful weather, you got great fans, and it's just not
It's just not.
cutie.
Yeah, you go through those years, like even here in Philly, it's like the years. Okay, the Eagles are back relevant, so it's been great. I mean, it's great. It's more a football city than anything. But when the Phillies are hot, when the Phillies almost getting to the World Series, it's like and getting to the World Series, it's like the fans are like excited. Sixers are doing well again. The Flyers been up and down. So, but when the teams are winning and the teams fans are just they love it. There's passionate fans.
It really is, and isn't that what we love, like, about
Yeah.
sports? Like,
Yep.
we have this common thing, we can all scream at a bar together and scream, like, have some
Mhm.
wings. Like, it's so funny too, because on Sundays I'm such a piece of human garbage with the food I eat. I want wings, I want chips,
Yes.
I can't finger somewhat item in my mouth. Like, I love hot dogs like you would not believe.
Okay.
Like, I'm a connoisseur. To me, like, I don't need to go to Masters and get a steak. Like, a great hot dog at a game and I'm happy.
Right.
And going to games with me is such a nightmare to some people, because it's like it's not a quiet experience.
Well, you're
Um,
supposed to cheer. You're supposed to be excited.
yeah,
That's what
I love
that's
listen, and
yeah.
depending on what game, like,
Yeah.
like if I'm at a Ducks game, I always try to sit on the Ducks shoot twice side, because I just want to heckle that goalie. Where they turn around, and like I've actually had, like, at an Angels game, Matt Kemp was on the Padres, and I worked with Matt a bunch, and I was just reaming him, and he turned around and he looked up at me and he goes, Sanaz? Right. Playing
Yeah.
like dog shit. Like, I was like
Yeah,
ripping
yeah,
into him. But
yeah.
it's great, because, like, once you kind of like meet these guys and you've worked with them and you have a
Mhm.
rapport with them, they kind of get to know your personality.
Yeah.
And it almost makes it more fun to see your friend doing good. Like, you're
Yeah.
like, I love that. Like, yeah, you're just so happy about it. A dear friend of mine, his name is Blair Walsh. He was the kicker for the Vikings for many years.
Mhm.
And I loved watching him do good. It was just so fun. And then, poor guy has one game where I don't even remember who the Vikings played, but they had only scored 9 points in that game. All points scored by their kicker. And when
Yes.
the last kick is when people were coming out of the woodwork sending him death threats. And I was like, I'm sorry. I think anything on that board today was from Blair, but it's so fun when you know someone playing,
Yeah.
and you say, like, I've worked with them, and it's really
Yeah.
good to see.
That's a cool experience too.
Yeah.
When you said so you see someone you're like, ah man, I know them good. I love to see people win too. I really do. It's because like I said, it's all about just to share, not to hate on anybody. Like you said, you want people to win, especially people your
Yeah.
circle, just to see them do really well for themselves and their family and everything too. So yeah, I love that too. But so Nas, this has been not gonna keep too much longer. This has been so much fun. I really enjoy. I've enjoyed. I knew I would. So I knew I was going to enjoy you on the show. So I really appreciate your time and your the passion and like I said, the content, everything you do. Best of luck, many blessings to everything you got going on. Just any final words and where everyone can find you on social media, the podcasting and everything.
Well, first off, I want to thank you. I love your show. It
Thank
is
you.
so raw, and that's what I want, is
Thank
just
you. Thank you.
keeping it real and raw. Like, everybody stop sugarcoating things, and you do it in such a like polite way. And that's something I can try to like, I try to learn from that a lot. So I
Okay, thank you.
appreciate your time and having me on. It's so weird to be on the other side of the questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely follow Sanaz Said So. So that's my Instagram. You can definitely catch me with Football is Sexy. Our podcast come out every Wednesday. We have fun content all the time. And then Fighter and the Kid comes out, I believe it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so you can see me there as well. I just appreciate the time and the ability to just be myself. And I have to tell you, it's so full circle from starting at the bottom and being an intern and crawling and scratching and, having to be reserved and being quiet. And now you're at this point where I can just be myself, and
Yeah.
it's a blessing. And it's because of people like you, honestly, Courtney, that give people this platform. So thank you so much from the
I
bottom of my heart.
I appreciate that, and thank you. And keep being you, keep being that authentic you. I know you will, but just keep being authentic and you said real. But I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I've enjoyed. I loved hearing your story. Love you said from starting from the bottom to where you are today, and I can just see beyond where you're going with it too. So again, shout out to Football is Sexy and the Fighter and the Kid, that whole crew and everything too. So again, thank you, Sanaz, for coming on the show. Happy holidays to you and the family. Happy New Year. And we got to do this again. We definitely
Yes.
have to do this again. Maybe
Get the other
during
gals too.
yeah, with the entire crew. And I'm sure we'll have a that's got to be maybe a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
But I'll set some time up for that. But I really appreciate you, and again, happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'll talk to you soon, and
Yes.
enjoy football, and go Eagles. There will win
I know the
tomorrow.
whole song, actually.
The fly Eagles fly.
I will fly on the road to
The
victory. I know.
victory. Yes,
I got
yes,
you. I got
yes,
you. I'll be ready
yes.
for you tomorrow for sure.
I appreciate that. They're gonna need it. So if they can get this win, oh, I'll be so happy for the rest of the week. So,
They
but
will.
I hope they get it. So, but thanks again. Really appreciate it, and
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.